The government warns hackers could infiltrate your sex toys. A record number of Japan ramen restaurants went bankrupt this past year, and a French woman believes she was in a real relationship with Brad Pitt and was scammed out of $800,000. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian inside a closet. The government is warning that sex toys are a tempting target for hackers and could be weaponized. Who's hacking the sex toys? A bunch of Russian hackers? Your genitals belong to me now, stupid American. The article goes on to say, in the age of smart refrigerators, smart toasters, smart watches, it shouldn't come as a surprise that smart sex toys have now become the target of internet hackers. No, this sounds frightening. I don't think I'm ready for the great dildo war of 2025. Let's find out how I can protect my sex toys. I actually don't have any sex toys. I certainly don't have sex toys that connect to the internet. I'm kind of old school in that department. I kind of take care of all that manually. But I know people have moved on and they love their Bluetooth-enabled intimacy gadgets, apparently. Well, let's learn why this might be your most vulnerable possession and not in the way that you might think. The lure of remote-controlled intimacy sex toys isn't hard to understand, whether you're in a long-distance relationship or you just like the convenience. These devices have taken the market by storm. According to a 2023 study, these toys are some of the most vulnerable consumer-hacked products. And while a vibrating smart egg or a remotely controlled chastity belt might sound pretty futuristic and cool, the risks involved are decidedly very dystopian. Oh no, let's find out how dangerous these things can be and what the hackers are capable of. Do they just make the batteries explode while you're using the toy on yourself? Oh, that would be something if it went up like a Hezbollah pager. Wouldn't like that. The article says, Forbes' Davey Winder flagged this issue several years ago when hackers locked users into chastity devices, demanding a ransom to unlock it. I think I actually covered that years ago. You get your chastity device linked up to the web, and then a hacker locks it on you. You can't unlock it without paying some Bitcoin. Fast forward to right now, and the warnings are even louder than ever, they say. Researchers led by Dr. Mark Cody found multiple vulnerabilities in these devices, primarily those relying on Bluetooth connectivity. And alarmingly, many of these connections lacked any encryption whatsoever, leaving the door wide open for malicious third parties, for malicious hackers to take over your sexual devices. Well, one could make the argument if you are going to roll the dice with some sex toys, some chastity belts that log on to the web, you kind of deserve what's coming to you. But let me find some empathy here for those that have been scammed. The article says, what's the worst that could happen? If you're picturing some low-stakes prank involving vibrating gadgets going haywire, think again. The risks are graver. No, not just your vibrating gadget ramping up the speed. Prepare for ludicrous speed. Ooh, this feels better than ever. According to this report, hackers could potentially inflict actual physical harm by overheating a sex device or locking it indefinitely. Meanwhile, the psychological harm could stem from sensitive data. Yes, that kind of data being exposed or exploited. Does that mean these items share photos and video? Sounds like that's what's going on. I mean, if you got some racy videos and photos on there, and then the hacker retrieves them from the device, that could be some easy extortion right there. It says there was an expose recently done. A security researcher breached a chastity devices database containing over 10,000 users' information. That was in June, and the manufacturer, they say, still hasn't addressed this security issue. In another incident, users of the Cellmate connected chastity belt reported hackers demanding $750 in Bitcoin to unlock their devices. That's not good when a stranger hacks in and takes over your back passage device. I own your back passage now. The article goes on to talk about this toy called the Wii Vibe, how they settled for $4 million a few years ago after it was discovered the device was collecting intimate data without users' consent. A sex toy with a camera was hacked the same year, granting outsiders access to its live feed. A live feed? Oh, boy. And let's not forget, these toys are multiplying faster than anyone can track, with websites like Internet of Dongs monitoring the surge. The Internet of Dongs? What is that? Oh, I looked it up. The Internet of Dongs. This is a blog all about hacking sex toys for security and privacy. It's supported by Pornhub, which means it's probably illegal in Florida. So anyone listening in Florida, I'm going to give you some information here about what you should watch out for. Although I think sex toys are probably illegal in Florida as well. Can own 5 AR-15s. Cannot own a magical butt plug. I was like racing in my brain to find the name of another sex toy device. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it, guys. Now, the rest of the article talks about how these companies aren't on top of it, and that's the issue, and that's why this is important. So if you're going to own one of these, maybe don't go crazy hooking it up to the web or turning on a live feed. I don't know. That would probably be the reason you'd buy it in the first place. So probably just don't buy these things for the time being is my advice. Go manual if you can. I mean, we need to slow down in general with these smart devices. Do we really need everything to be hooked up to the web? Everything? Your refrigerator, you really need a smart refrigerator. You want a refrigerator to slide into your DMs. I mean, what do these things even do anyways? The little added benefit is not enough when you consider the risk involved. It's just not. Or if you must have one of these, chastity belts that a user controls from thousands of miles away via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or whatever, just make sure you have a high-powered saw right next to you in case a hacker locks it up and demands some Bitcoin for ransom. You just saw that puppy off yourself. Think ahead is what I'm saying. A record number of ramen restaurants went out of business in 2024. Sorry, everybody. I was on a little bit of a diet. I couldn't keep them all above water. Please forgive me. A record number of ramen noodle eatery operators in Japan went out of business in 2024. Did you know that? This occurred as the food's reputation for affordability limits room to raise prices amid soaring ingredient and utility costs. Also hit by climbing personnel expenses due to labor shortages, insolvencies among ramen business operators resulting in liabilities of at least 10 million yen in 2024, jumping over 30% to 72, up from 53 in 2023. I'm kind of confused by all these numbers, but basically ramen joints in Japan are in trouble, and it's probably because there's so many of them. Do you need that many? I mean, I was in Japan. It was like 3 on every damn block. So many ramen noodle eateries. And then, of course, the price of ramen at these places is just not feasible. When you consider what it costs to make the same thing at home, it's like 50 cents. You sit down at a ramen place and you're shelling out, $12, $13. Here in Los Angeles, you go out to ramen joints, you're routinely going to pay almost $20 with taxes for a hefty bowl of ramen here. I mean, that's out of control given what the ingredients really cost. We're talking about a little package of noodles at the center of it that costs 25 cents. I mean, this would be about as shocking as if you learn like a bunch of peanut butter and jelly sandwich restaurants went out of business. Maybe not, but something like that. The article says Japanese ramen soup noodles typically combine meat and vegetable toppings with broth. Despite rising costs, the average price of a bowl of ramen is still under 700 yen. A popular lunchtime staple or late-night guilty pleasure, ramen has also found fans overseas, they say. But with 2024 ingredient costs, as of October, up by an average of over 10% from 2022, businesses face having to bring prices closer to 1,000 yen for a bowl. Now, for some more nerdy data points, of all the 350 ramen restaurants that were surveyed for this report, about 35% of them were running at a loss in fiscal year 2024. Some experts say that bankruptcies could continue, with small and medium-sized businesses likely to be more reluctant than larger chains to revise their menu prices. One restaurant owner says he does not think customers can be convinced to pay more just yet. And he says, we'll just pray that costs don't go up any further this year to save the ramen industry. Well, this could be an opportunity to just, what they call pivot. That's a business term, right? Pivot. Try something else. There's so many ramen places over there. It's just like, offer something. How about just soba noodles? I love soba. You can save money on the broth. Oh, it's a nice bowl of soba with a dipping sauce. Killer. When I was in Osaka, I went to a very popular ramen place called Ichiran. And it's famous for, it's known for serving ramen without the customer having to talk to anyone. So you kind of get in there and you order through a push button machine, and then you don't even see the wait staff or the kitchen. You just sit down and there's these wooden sliding doors in front of you, and then a wait staff will slide the door open, put the bowl in, then slide it shut. You can barely see who they are. The only time I saw them was at the end. They slide it open when you're all done, and then they bow, and then they slide it shut again. It was a cool experience, I have to say. But it wasn't cheap from what I remember. If you don't know, Osaka is the food capital of Japan, and that's where I assume a lot of these ramen eateries have been affected. I do really love ramen. I'm just not going to pay a lot for it. I think that's common sense. So, I don't know. You guys into ramen? Call the show and tell me you like ramen. Guys, just call the show and tell me what kind of ramen do you like. Do you like the chicken flavor? Do you like the beef flavor? What about the seafood flavor? Are you kind of like a miso broth person, or do you like the soy? Or what are you into? 646-450-2012. Let's have ramen together someday. Fly me to your apartment and let's have ramen. A woman believed she was in a relationship with Brad Pitt and was scammed out of 800,000 euros. Multiple French media companies are reporting about this French woman who was scammed out of more than 800,000 euro in an elaborate scheme that also caused the breakdown of her marriage as well while she was married at the time. 800,000 euro, wow, that's a pretty big pitfall, would you say? Wow. I feel a lot of Brad Pitty. No, I don't. The 53-year-old French lady said that her ordeal began in February when she received a Facebook message from someone posing as Brad Pitt's mother. That makes sense. Brad Pitt's mother DM'd me. This is normal behavior. She said that the scammer used AI-generated videos and photos to convince her that he was the real Brad Pitt and sparked an online romance with her, telling her that he loved her. Please send money. I love you. Send me all your money, even though I'm worth $500 million. You can Google Brad Pitt's net worth. It's $500 million. It took me a second to find out how much money Brad Pitt had. I don't know why you'd be sending Brad Pitt money. It says, maintaining contact only through text, the scammer started buying her luxurious gifts, telling her she would have to pay for customs on the items, which is how she lost her first 10,000 euro. The scammer proposed a marriage, which prompted this woman to divorce her millionaire husband. She already had a meal ticket. She had a millionaire husband. She got rid of him for this. Oh, this husband's probably dying laughing with his friends as they're smoking cigars and sipping on cognac. Oh, you left your millionaire husband. You had it. Girl, you had it. And you gave it all away. These romance scams are very, very problematic, though. It's been a big issue for the last few years, Just the other night, me and Taylor Swift were texting about this. She was texting me, by the way, on the new iPhone 16 that I just bought her. Just talking about how, this can be a real issue, and people just really believe AI videos now, and Photoshop has become, pretty convincing. And so it's people are losing their shirts. It's so sad. Anyways, that's what me and Taylor were talking about. You guys might even remember that Chinese lady that sent the astronaut a bunch of money so he could afford a flight back from the International Space Station back to Earth. Do you remember that story? It's happening all the time. Me and Taylor were talking about all of these things, and she's worried that people out there might be pretending that they're her, And I was like, you're crazy, girl. You crazy. And then I sent her $500 Western Union again. Okay, back to these very sad, sad details about this woman that was scammed. Now, The Brad Pitt scam involved asking for money for kidney cancer treatment, which this fake Brad Pitt claimed that he had. Claimed that he was also unable to pay for the cancer treatment as his funds had been frozen because of his divorce settlement with Pitt's now ex-wife Angelina Jolie. Again, something you can Google. Some things you can Google. Divorce settlement with Angelina. Does Brad Pitt have kidney cancer? Could have probably Googled that question. I mean, the lady's 53, not 93. Divorcing her husband, the woman gave her settlement of more than 800,000 euro to the scammer. That was her divorce settlement. Oh, my goodness. She handed over her divorce settlement. She had a millionaire under the same roof as her. She gives it away. She gave it to the scammer before realizing it was all fake when she saw the news that the real Brad Pitt was in a new relationship. Wow. Now you pay attention to the news? You didn't find it strange that the news didn't report on Brad Pitt's apparent kidney cancer treatment that he was going through? Because he's not going through it? I mean, who believes that? I'm Brad Pitt. I need $1,500 in iTunes gift cards for my life-saving kidney operation. Can you help? She doesn't even ask for nudes either, I assume. She asked for nudes. If I'm sending you $800,000, I'm getting nudes and at least a FaceTime. No FaceTime? She gave all this money away without a FaceTime? I mean, I'm trying, guys. I'm trying to find that. Where did that go? Where did I put that empathy? It's got to be around here somewhere. Anybody seen my empathy for morons? Yeah, I can't. I don't have it today. So sorry. Okay, some questions. Let's unpack. The article doesn't address this, but does this woman have any friends? Because I would say no. If you have a friend, I don't think you can fall for this. As soon as you tell your friend, hey, by the way, guys, hey, you're getting divorced? Tell us about that. Oh, it's no problem. Yeah, I'm ditching this loser because I'm marrying Brad Pitt next week as soon as he's done having his kidney operation. A friend would not let you finish that sentence, man. Here's some of the photos. Someone posted the photos that was sent her. No. Oh, man. You got to see these photos. They're horrible. Where does someone put... Someone photoshopped Brad Pitt's face and put it over a hospital patient's face. Some of these photos are pictures of Brad Pitt from his famous films. Lady, what are you doing? This is the worst attempt ever. I can't believe it worked. Wow. I mean, these pictures aren't going to fool a 6-year-old man. What? How bad was the guy's imitation of Brad Pitt over the phone? I'm wondering. Can you imagine that? Yes, this is Brad Pitt. Totally Brad Pitt. Yes, I'm so much Brad Pitt. Listen, I'm very sick. Very, 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 very sick. Need some money, please. Please. I got the cancer. I got it all over me. Let's and Angelina not giving me money. Oh, my goodness. No money. I cannot. I'm dying over here. Please send more money. This lady's like, oh, Brad, I'm here for you. What's your Venmo? The article says that Anne is not the only victim of this Brad Pitt romance scam. Reports from Spain last year claimed that fraudsters posing as Brad Pitt saw 2 women scammed out of 325,000 euro in total. Well, I mean, the numbers bear these things out. If you are terrible at this, but you reach out to 8 million women, I mean, you're going to find 2 or 3, I guess, that are just this naive. It's just going to happen. By the way, disclaimer, if anybody reaches out to you telling you they're the real pod daddy, Jonesy, and demanding some money, it's not me, man. It's not me. I'm the real pod daddy. And don't you forget it. Hello, my friends. It's the real pod daddy here. Just want to thank you for spending some time with the Weird AF News podcast. We're keeping it rocking and rolling despite suffering from natural disasters over here in Southern California. Hanging in there. I want to give thanks and praise to the many donors, people that have bought me coffees recently, such as the Big Sosky. You guys know about the Big Sosky? The Big Sosky bought me coffees off my website, weirdafnews.com. And the Big Sosky wrote me a nice, lovely note. Stay safe, Jonesy. Sorry to hear about your Honda. I remember having to let my Saab go. Poor Sabrina. I miss her every day. Isn't that awesome? That is the perfect name for a Saab, man. Sabrina. Saabs are cool, man. I really like Saabs. Weird cars, man. Weird looking cars. Very cool. So sorry about your Sabrina. I know how it feels. I lost my girl. Also, Mel bought me some coffees off my website, weirdafnews.com. Mel wrote, "Hey, Jonesy, just want to say me and Mom really enjoy the podcast, especially since she is blind and goes through a lot, but we always look forward to listening to the podcast and having a good laugh. Keep up the good work." That's just lovely. So big shout out to Mel and Mom. I want to thank you guys for spending some time with me in the podcast. I so appreciate the support and the listenership. This is very, very sweet. And I hope I can bring Mom some joy because she's going through a lot these days. And so, hopefully I can get some laughs, at least be a distraction from Mom, If anything, when you're not having the best time, you need some kind of distraction. I always look towards sports for a good distraction for me, Sports and playing music. Both of those things I enjoy very much. I got a little acoustic guitar that I like to play. As you guys know, sometimes I write little songs for the show. So those things keep me busy. It's best to just keep busy, keep distracted. And that helps you get through the bad times, I think. Don't listen to me. I'm not a therapist. I'm just speaking from my own experience. Anyways, I'm happy to help wherever I can by providing this weird podcast 5 days a week for those of you who need it. I'm here for you. If you ever want to reach out, it's funnyjones@gmail.com. Got a phone number over here, 646-450-2012. And my Instagram is @funnyjones. You can slide into my DMs or just follow me and see what I'm up to. I got a show tomorrow night in Anaheim. Let me know if you're in the area. If you'd like to go, I can put you on the guest list. If you'd like to support the show, just go to the website, weirdafnews.com. Pretty easy. You can buy coffees or join the Patreon. Anyways, hope you're doing okay. And let me give you a virtual hug. There you go. How was that? Good?